Thank you.
Yep. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for Jerry Houston, as well as Gail Thompson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Alberta, anybody? Public 4.1 public comment on agenda items.
John, speak into the microphone.
Absolutely. I could yell into the microphone. I have to be a little bit professional. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen to public comment. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members and their concerns and issues. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a debate or dialogue. Please do not expect board members to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. Any questions from the public should be submitted through the use of proper public comment form, which may be obtained online or at the desk with the district clerk. We'll let the proper staff member get back to you as appropriate. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to address any comment or questions about specific students or school personnel. We would ask you to go to the appropriate administrative channels. A total of 30 minutes at the beginning of each board meeting is set aside to allow for public comments on agenda items only. Public comments at the beginning of the meeting is limited to only the items on the agenda. Persons who wish to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting are asked to provide their name and specific agenda items about which they wish to speak. A sign-up sheet is located at the desk with the clerk. Individual comments on the agenda items is limited to 3 minutes and are welcomed. If you wish to address items related to a school district that are not on tonight's agenda, another comment period is provided at the end of the meeting for that purpose. A second sign-up sheet is available for non-agenda items. Are there any individuals who sign up for agenda items? Seeing none. 5.01, Superintendent recommends a budget presentation. Dr. Bunk.
Thank you, Director Schouten. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, senior staff, district staff, and members of our community. This evening, I am proud to present the Superintendent's Recommended Budget 2, which at this point is very similar to the Superintendent's Recommended Budget 1, since New York State has yet to adopt a budget. The figures that we are using here are based on the governor's proposal. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the presentation. Important to mention, the mission of our school district is to empower all of our students with the competencies and confidence to challenge themselves, pursue their passions, realize their potential while growing as responsible members of their community. We want to empower them. We want to challenge them. We want them to grow. Last year, the theme for the budget was reconnecting with our community. This year, it's about moving forward together. Members of the Board of Education, President John Lumia, Vice President Peggy Kelland, Trustee Marie Johnson, Trustee Keith Odoms, Trustee Michael McFarland, Trustee Eddie A. Sloshower, Trustee Cheryl Miggins, Trustee James Spencer, Trustee John S. Morgan, Senior Staff Administration, Darren Lolkema, our Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Information Systems, Dr. Michelle Cardwell, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Kristen Dainty, the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Business Development, also known as the Financial Guru, Richard Zipp, Assistant Superintendent, Student Support Services, Accessible Education, Renee Harris, our Director of Human Resources, Ronald Brose, our Director of Facilities and Operations, and the District Clerk and Secretary to the Superintendent, Alberta Pedro. I would like to thank all of them for their participation, especially Kristen Dainty, in preparing this budget, which we are very pleased to present. So as I mentioned earlier, today, or actually yesterday, April the 10th, the district received information that the legislature approved a second budget extender to April the 17th, which is next Monday. What does this mean? It means that the Board of Education is still scheduled to approve a proposed budget on April 17th. All information received from New York State by the district will be reviewed immediately upon request. Again, we are hopeful that the state will enact a budget prior to the 17th. We're unsure as to whether that's going to happen or not. So again, one way or the other, we will be presenting a budget to be approved and voted on April the 17th. Any adjustments that are made with any additional potential funding will be based on previous conversations that we've had with the Board of Education and the community. I'd like to thank you for sending your thoughts to budget@wcsdny.org. Board of Education wish list items, as I mentioned, community feedback and administration input. A revised presentation may be provided, as I mentioned, to the board at the next board meeting on April the 17th in the event that we receive a state budget. New York State aid comprises 33% of our total revenue. At this time, it's anticipated that any changes to the aid can be managed to meet the 1.67 tax levy increase. So that's where we are. And we continue with the goal for the second year in a row to come in under the tax cap. And this year's tax levy increase would be 1.67%. Yes, Ms. Dainty, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that the significant increase in state aid, as you noted on the previous slide, currently based on the 23-24 proposal is 33%. In prior years, it's been approximately 24%. So there is a significant increase in aid in the executive budget as proposed. And in the event that there is not a state budget, we would be using that information as provided because the assembly and the legislature has pushed through that level of funding, correct?
That is correct. So one of the topics of discussion that has been occurring for the last couple of months at the Capital Improvement Committee, and again, I need to commend the members of the committee with the Board of Education that are on the committee, as well as members of the district office senior staff. I'm also a member of that committee. We also have parents, business owners that are also on that committee. One of the discussions was around, if we have additional money, what can we do to spruce up our curb appeal and our landscapes? And some of the items that may have been needed to have been fixed or spruced up for years. And how can we do that without having to put forth another capital project? Well, in conversation and based on the recommendation from the Capital Improvement Committee, I recommend and have put in this budget a partial list of items that need to be completed that will not exceed $500,000. That's a lot of money. That $500,000 will come out of our fund balance, the general fund. It will not be part of the 1.67. It will not be added to that. These are monies that we have, and we have them so, as I've stated many times, as a Board of Education, as an administration, and as a community, we can best determine how to spend that money based on the needs at that time. Well, these are some of the needs that we have. Upgrading landscape at all school buildings. That's probably going to be about $100,000. John Jay finished the pathway in the rear of the building. The RCK clubhouse, floors, paint, cleanup, hall display cases. Gayhead, repair all broken steps and handrails, exit areas. This building will see much work. This is our original building. It looks great, but it can look better. What are some of the things that we need to do? New furniture, desks and chairs. Stage floor, painted and refinished and repaired. Wall repair and paint, all of the hallways painted, staircases, cafeteria, and classrooms. Wall repairs, painting and flooring in various rooms. Stop signs, you know when you drive in here in the morning, when the buses come in, that road over here on the side is something that needs our attention. We're going to be putting stop signs there, so that if somebody wants to come up and use that road as a thoroughfare, they're going to have to stop and look. And if those buses are unloading or loading, that traffic will not be able to move forward. So it's not going to be a straight through any longer. So we're going to be making those types of improvements. We're also going to be fixing all doors. The main lobby, which if you turn around and take a look behind you, you'll see that it's not very well lit. We need better lighting and better aesthetics in the library, which is the area that the students come into in the morning every day. They need to see that the environment that they are in is a priority for this school district. The vestibule, paint and cleanup, refinish and stain all interior wood, doors, moldings, outside doors, and obviously the front entrance. I'm excited about this. I think it's long overdue, and again, we're able to do this without having to go to the community again with a capital project. So let's take a look at the recommended budget. Very similar to what you saw 2 weeks ago. Levy to levy, 1.67 increase, budget to budget, 8.05. Remember, inflation was capped and was reported at 8%. You'll notice that budget to budget number went up, but that's not taxpayer budget to budget. That again is fund balance. We are proposing to utilize $1.7 million of fund balance with some of the infrastructure improvements as well as some of the other items that have presented in the past, particularly our K through 8 special education initiative. So where do we go from here? Hopefully, next Monday night, I will be able to present a budget that reflects a state budget. If not, we will be presenting a budget based on the information that we have from the state and the budget adoption from the board. The superintendent's budget community presentation, John Jay High School, on May the 2nd at 5:30, and then we have a community forum here on May 8th. That is the state, it's at RCK. That is the state mandated public hearing on the budget. And then May 16th is the budget vote. So with that, again, I want to thank everyone that was involved in developing this budget. Very, very excited about it. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Christian, in the event that the state gives us more money, in the event that happens, can that money, and we already passed the budget next Monday, what happens to that extra money?
Well, you don't overspend your budget. So say they were to give us another $500,000. You're still setting that budgetary limit that you should not exceed. So if there's $500,000 extra that comes along, that would fall to fund balance. So you'd be in the same situation where you're currently in, to utilize that in the following year, potentially for some other non-recurring expense.
Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Consent agenda, resolution. Peggy, does anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Peggy?
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated. 6.02, 6.03, 6.04, 6.05, 6.06, 6.07, 6.08, 6.09, 6.10, and 6.11.
Motion, Peggy, second. Cheryl, all in favor? Unanimous. 7.01, approval to attend New York State School Board Association 2023 live virtual policy workshop. Peggy,
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve Marie Johnson and Peggy Kelland to attend the live virtual policy workshop on Wednesday, April 26, 2023, from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at a cost of $130, member rate.
motion, Marie, second. Peggy, all those in favor? Unanimous. 7.02, professional learning plan.
According to policy 9700, it is the responsibility of the professional learning team to submit any recommended revisions to the professional learning plan to the board by April 1st. The board will consider the recommendations at its first regular meeting thereafter. The board may accept or reject the recommendations of the team in whole or in part. The board may also request any additional information or data needed to evaluate the success of the program in achieving its objectives.
Any discussion with that? Any questions for Dr. Carwell? Marie?
I forgot to go back on and recheck, did that stuff that we discussed, all those things, you fixed those, right?
Yes, that's correct.
We had
It was dates.
there was incorrect dates, and I just wanted to have them fixed.
Yeah, no, we did also change some formatting, so there'll be a couple of formatting changes that also go before you in June when you look at to approve the professional learning plan. So there'll be a couple of minor adjustments, but if there are any recommendations or suggestions or questions that you have regarding what's in the plan, you could definitely email me, schedule a meeting with me to talk about it. And then if there are any changes, I'll bring it back to the committee, make those changes or any additional modifications. And then I'll bring an additional plan for you guys to vote on the beginning of June.
Okay, thank you.
It's tight.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Request for addition to the agenda. Becky,
I would like to make an addition to the agenda.
I second it. All those in favor? Unanimous. Becky,
Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby confirms the findings of fact and penalty recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools dated March 28, 2023, which endorsed the finding and penalty of the hearing officer, Allison Smith, dated March 24, 2023, regarding student number 041123. And be it further resolved that the Board President is hereby authorized to sign the board determination letter on behalf of the Board of Education. And be it further resolved that the district clerk is hereby authorized to mail the board determination letter to the students' parents.
motion. Becky, second. Cheryl, all those in favor? Unanimous. Comments from the public? Anybody sign up, Alberta? Before I get to comments, please, Mr. E, before you put your full name if possible. Is he here? Mr. E? There's no Mr. E. Okay. Antoinette A. Ailey's.
Good evening to all members of the board. My name is Anquinette Hales. I am a candidate running for BOCES School Board, and I just wanted to come out to the board meeting tonight just to introduce myself. I previously submitted my candidate letter to you all, and I just thought it was important just to come meet you and greet you in person and just commend you on the work that you're doing for the families in the school district. So you've already heard a little bit about my resume and my background, but one of the things that I want to highlight is that I'm running for BOCES board as a graduate of the BOCES, the Duchess BOCES New Visions program. During my senior year of high school, I took AP classes in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I attended the New Visions program. So I'm a product of what the BOCES system has to offer this district and so many of the other component districts. I am also an adjunct professor at Dutchess Community College, so I also champion higher education. And so what I want to give back to the students in the Hudson Valley area is that you can do both. You don't just necessarily have to choose one road, because I was able to do that. So I hope to serve the Wappingers district well as I sit on the board with your vote, April 25th. It is my hope that I would receive one of your 2 votes. And I am available by email and by phone if you have any additional questions. But again, I champion higher education, but I also champion the technical education as well and certification. So I thank you for this opportunity to come greet you and so you can see my face. And again, you've already received my candidate letter, which I can circulate again if you need that for your discussion on April the 25th. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Antoinette, for coming. Karen Hawkins.
Good evening to all the board members. It's me again. I just want to say on behalf of all the families who were at the last board meeting on March 27th and myself, we just wanted to thank you for your really genuine and compassionate response to our concerns around the John Jay GSA student group. We all recognize that you're under no obligation to respond in the moment. And we found your responses, each of you, to be very authentic and very compassionate. So on behalf of all those families and myself and my child, I just wanted to thank you. We really appreciate your service and we really appreciate your support. And we look forward to continuing to enjoy your support for all of our children who need it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. The next person.
Yeah, please, sign your full name, please, if possible, if you're allowed to speak. Wait a minute, hold on a minute, please. Mr. E.
I'm Mr. E, and I'm not leaving my full name on purpose.
Well, I did say you have to, so that's a law. I'm sorry. You don't have
For
to.
the safety of my child,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to give
That's
my
fine.
last name.
That's fine.
Okay. Coming here tonight to speak before you is not something easy for me to do. I don't do these things ever. Prior to the pandemic and all the controversy surrounding it, I never attended Board of Education meetings. Like most folks in the district, I was naive and assumed that those on the board would make decisions and policies based on what is best for the students in the district, and that politics would have no bearing on the policies put in place. Sadly, that is a false assumption. Looking around the auditorium and how empty it is, I am assuming everybody else in the town is under the same delusion. At recent meetings, there have been many statements by those saying that the district needs to do more to support their children whose gender is at question. And they state that their children are targets of bullying and discrimination. Well, I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of my daughters and all the students in recent years at school that feel as though they need to sit down and not speak their opinion and to conform to an ideology that very few believe, regardless of what the news says. They are having to deny what biology and our society has known since the existence of man, that an infant born with a penis is a boy and not a girl, no matter how they feel or how many surgeries they have. All students are forced into accepting this reality, or they will be the ones who are bullied and discriminated, like my daughter. How confusing it must be for younger students who know the truth, but yet they are forced to believe a lie that those educating them, those in charge of them, are telling them. How will they know when they're actually being told the truth? Any credibility that teachers have will be gone. Not to mention that the time taken away from the students who, as a result of COVID, are already lacking in their education skills. My daughter has to hide her beliefs from fear of being persecuted in school. And sadly, she has good reason to be afraid after watching what happened to Riley Gaines, the swimmer, in the San Francisco College, being chased down a hallway and beat because she wanted to speak how she believed. She had to hide until the police came and removed the mob. The main point I want the board to realize is that between the new Title IX legislation and other state and federal discrimination laws that are already protecting the gay community, it seems the rights of gay and transgender community has been placed at a very high priority, in fact, maybe above all others. My daughter has gay friends, non-binary friends. She's not prejudiced. But if they ever knew that she felt that she had beliefs in God, she would be shunned out of her circle of friends. I feel that those that come here to complain, to provide more inclusive atmosphere for their children, are being disingenuous, because my daughter has never, her friends have never, she's never once told me of an instance where her friends who are gay and non-binary have been bullied or discriminated. I hope that when voting on policies, you take into account the feelings of the majority of students who are keeping silent and just going along to get along. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Marie?
All those in favor? Unanimous.
Never mind.